Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox, and I'm coming to you today with the review for Greenleaf Season 4, Episode 5, I think it is. You guys, I'm a little bit off. I'm trying to get myself together because I have to go to a budget training. That's right. It is budget season, you guys. And I haven't been talking about it because I've been trying a different approach and trying not to stress myself out about it and not really even thinking about it. And then here we are now, admittedly. Last year, budgets, it was considerably less stressful. And it left me hopeful for this year. But we are now going to a paperless system as far as budget is concerned, which helps a lot, because at one time we were printing 10 copies of 65, 75 page budgets, you know, and then having to 3-hole punch it and all that. We've come a long way. So now we are now to paperless, and they're going to train us today on it. So I'll be here all day. It is before work. It's 8:30, and I was like, let me do this video beforehand. Then I'm going to try to edit it on my lunch break. So I'm stressed. Nigga got the bubble guts. You know, So anyway, I had to pay for, I couldn't find parking space. I didn't know where I was supposed to park. I was like, fuck it, let me just park in this public thing and pay, and you know, it's $3, whatever. But we gonna get through this video so I can get on over to training, you guys. But y'all shoot one up for your girl that it all goes well today. The review, though, let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys, so the show opens with Grace talking to Bob, and Bob is telling her about a church down the road that is losing members, you know, and he just wants Grace to have a talk with them just so that we can, you know, just see if it's a good fit, okay? And I'm assuming that means that they want maybe Grace's church and that church to possibly mix together. And when he's walking out, he says, oh, and by the way, it's a white church. I was like, isn't this what they always try to do? You know, even gentrification happens in the churches too, you guys. When he leaves, he bumps into Sidekick Phil out there. And Sidekick Phil really is Sidekick Phil. Evidently, Sidekick Phil is writing some sort of speech or something for him. I know he doesn't preach, right? So, you know, Sidekick Phil was like, did you get a chance to read it? And he says, it just doesn't feel like Bob. Maybe because Bob ain't writing it. I said, ooh, Sidekick Phil, you getting played, homeboy. Now, we see that Grace has moved her son to Memphis, honey. Things move fast around here. Nobody knows that he's there, though. He's in his apartment. He's cooking his mom some breakfast. He's not real sure how this is going to work out, though. He's a little nervous. Like, I'm here, but, you know, nobody knows that I'm here. Like, how am I supposed to handle this? You know, she was like, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. Anyway, he's making her breakfast, waffles. She was like, oh, where'd you learn how to do that? In jail? He was like, jail is not a trade school. Why do people think that? No, I learned that from one of my foster families. The father was a chef. And she says, oh, Sophia's father is a chef. And he says, I know. And she was just like, you know? And he says, yeah, I did a little research. You ain't the only one that could be, you know, out here finding out about things. So, that kind of makes Grace be like, oh. I was like, Then I started getting word again that Wicked City woman Rochelle was behind all of this. Jumping over to Zora Mama and Jacob. Okay, she didn't talk to his dumb ass into selling that land, you know. She's all excited. I'm telling you, we ain't never seen this woman smile this much in our fucking lives. It's been 4 seasons. This is the first time this lady looks like she's genuinely happy, okay? And, side note, she looks good this season, too. Even though, you know, she always got that sour face. I think her hair looks, I love that haircut on her. I think it looks nice on her. Anyway, they're about to sign, or, you know, they're going to set up the closing. Yeah, it's time for celebrations, you guys. So he's going to go get the guy that's buying, he's going to go get the champagne, you know, and she notices his cufflinks. Oh, those are nice. You know, they were like lions or something like that. Oh, maybe I'll get Jacob a pair, you know. And, you know, he thanks her for admiring his side cuffs. Cufflinks. But anyway, let me go get that champagne. You know, she looks over at Jacob, who's still sitting over there looking like, well, I don't know if this is a good idea. She's like, this is going to be good for us. You know, thank you for doing this. I said, oh, he gonna thank you later, right? Back at the house, we see Bishop on the phone talking to, I guess, one of the old members or something. And May, she's reading a paper. Bishop gets off the phone. He says, oh, that was so-and-so, and she was just like, oh, that's something. I was just looking at what's happening in Atlanta. It seems like everything is down there. And he says, yeah, speaking of Atlanta, they want me to come down there and be a guest pastor. And she turns around and she was like, oh, and you said you'd do it, huh? And he says, yeah, it's just one Sunday. Like, what's the big deal? She was like, James, we need to concentrate all of our energy on getting Calvary back. Okay? How you gonna do that if you running down to Atlanta trying to be a pastor somewhere? He says, listen, woman, we don't have sex. Okay, so can I please go and do what I do best? Okay, let me be a pastor somewhere. It's just one Sunday. Grace interrupts. Is this the wrong time? And she was like, Grace, you have just saved me an hour from praying to God to forgive me for cussing out James, or whatever the fuck she said. Go on and speak. And Grace tells her tells them both how Bob Whitmore came in there and wants her to talk to this church down the street, a white church. It was a mega church, now it's not, about blending churches. They was both like, you bullshitting. Okay, Bishop was like, do the deacons know? Oh, they don't know yet, but they gonna know soon enough. And Bishop is hip to all of this. He was like, this ain't about blending no churches or anything. This is all about Bob trying to get more money. Okay, it's always about money. At first Grace and May are not real sure if this is what the case is, but Bishop was like, listen, there has never been any interracial mega church that's been successful with a black pastor. They might put a woman up there in a fancy Dior suit, and they was both like, oh, excuse me. He was like, but what I'm trying to tell you is, if we do blend all of these churches together, you can best believe that nobody in this room is going to be the ones that's up there on front of that stage, okay, or the pulpit, I should say. These mega churches always feel like a stage, though. And preaching a good word. Okay, so that's something for y'all to think about. Don't let this slip away. I thought it was real funny though when we saw Sidekick Phil again. He real desperate. He goes to Charity. I need something on Grace. Just the fact that he says that to Charity, that should make her feel fucked up. Like, really? You got this person, an outsider. You want the assistant pastorship that much. And you stupid if you think they're going to give it to you. But you want it that much that you would actually give this man something. What is there to get? She's such an idiot. Oh my gosh, she is one of the biggest dummies. I'm telling you. I just don't know what to think about that child. And it must be Bishop's gene, because Charity and Jacob both ain't got no good sense. And they both Bishop's kids. Shit. So Grace goes and talks to Cal. Cal is the pastor of the church that's dwindling away. And after they have a conversation, it's clear that Cal don't want to blend churches even as much as Grace doesn't want to blend churches. We now know for sure that this is Bob's doing. He says that every time he has an idea, Bob always tries to put him back on the pad. And she was like, what does that mean? He says, yeah, he kind of treats you like a puppy, like, get back over there, stay in your lane. Okay, pee on the paper, nowhere else. Nobody asked you anything else. All right. So Cal seems to be cool, but he's made it clear that he's not really with this either. But, it's hope and harmony and hope. What hope and harmony and hope? Which one is it? I can't remember. But whatever they want, obviously, is what they get. When she goes back to her living quarters, she hears like some shuffling around, and she was like, what's that? And when she opens the door, there's Sophia. And she was just like, what are you doing here? And she was like, I'm here to talk to my brother. I was like, now when did she get so disrespectful? I mean, I know she mad. Listen, I understand she mad and all of this, but it's like she's completely a changed child. Maybe because of what's happened to her, she's just not with the bullshit anymore. But I was just like, okay, Sophia. But anyway, she's there to meet her brother. And Grace was just like, basically, does anybody else know? She was like, don't worry, I haven't told anybody. Nobody even knows I'm here. I'm sneaking in and I'm sneaking out. Okay. So she's getting her stuff, and Grace was like, well, wait a minute, where are you going? And she says, well, I'm going to go to stay at Zora's place. But Mom, what's going to be your plan? Because Harmony and Hope is not going to let you stay a pastor once they find out that you gave away your child. Like, what do you think is about to happen here? And Grace is saying that she's going to handle it. And she was just like, yeah, you're going to handle the fact that you got to get up there and, basically now admit that you're just as bad as everybody else. Okay. So her whole vision of her mother is completely tainted. But Sophia can't fuck around with Grace no more. She gonna get on down to Zora's. And Zora's happy to see her, but she was just like, why'd you leave all crazy like that? And she's like, me and my mom had like a really big fight and she had to go. Like, but I promise I'll make it up to you. And she says, well, you can make it up to me now, help me with the Little Saints class. I'm really at a loss and, not sure what I should do, this, that, and the other. And Sophia was just like, I can't because I'm going over to Roberto's. That's her ex-boyfriend's. And she was like, oh, you guys are back together? And she's like, well, it's complicated. All right. And then when she leaves, we see her going over to her brother's house. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what is going on with Sophia where, we don't know this boy. He just got out of jail. Like, I know that he might be cool and on the up and up and up, but really? This girl just gonna go over to his apartment? Okay, but I guess she wants to. We couldn't meet at a Starbucks. So anyway, she go in there and they sit down and they talking and they're drinking Hennessy. I said, Sophia, child, if she didn't turn into a pillar of salt, I know something. I was like, girl, no, you're not drinking. So anyway, they sitting there talking. He's telling her about his life, getting kicked out, having to fend for himself, the foster care system, how horrible it's been for him, yada, 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 and she's just telling him how, well, you don't have to worry about that because, I'm here now. And he just laughs to himself like, you and your mom are exactly alike. You guys are all in, gonna save the day. Now she was like, well, but I am. And he says, I'm just saying it's easier to make the promises, than to actually do it. Obviously, he's been let down a lot in his life. But Sophia's trying to let him know she is here for the long haul. But you know what? She's getting tired. I said, girl, it's because you sitting up there sipping Hennessy. Girl, when did you start drinking? Oh, this child is, what in the world is going on here? So she's like, I'm just going to lay down for a second. I said, this girl, is this man okay? Oh my God, please don't let this man do something to this girl. And she lay down and he kind of looking at her. At first he was looking like, oh, I said, oh, here's about to happen. But he gets up and he gets the blanket and he just puts it over her. So, and then he sits down and he's got this look on his face. I can't tell if it's hope or if it's, like the irony or if he's just what he's feeling. But I just was so concerned about this girl falling asleep over this. But what is wrong with you? Now, back at the church, Zora Mama is talking to Sidekick Phil. I guess he's asking her about, some of the things that she used to do around there, just kind of asking how the process goes. While they're talking, she notices his cufflinks. Oh, and why does she notice the cufflinks? Because they're the same cufflinks that she noticed that her, the guy that bought the property from them, had. She was like, oh my gosh, your cufflinks are so nice. Where did you get them from? He says, oh, Bob gave them to me. They were a gift. Okay. She looking concerned. She was like, oh, okay. Well, I just thought maybe I'd get Jacob some, but I was like, bitch, now you done fucked around and sold your property to Harmony and Hope. So when she leaves out of there, she's on the phone with her girl. What was her name? Nadine, I think. Nadine, I need you to call me back. Because I just need to know something about the buyer. Okay. I said, ooh, Zora Mama, now if you go ahead with this and you about to find out, now you already know, you just really confirming. But I was just like, she about to fuck it up, y'all. She about to fuck it up. Now, Charity, because she got to get something for Sidekick Phil, she goes and talks to Corinne, like, what's going on around here? She's asking about Sidekick Phil. And she was just like, oh, you like Sidekick Phil? And she was like, no, not for me. I hate him. Okay, I was thinking for Grace. I think that they would be good together, but I just need to know if she's seeing anybody. You control her calendar, don't you know? And basically, Corinne was like, no, I don't know. And she was like, well, wasn't Noah just here? And she was like, yeah, he was here. And she was like, well, what's going on there? She was like, he's married. And she was just like, but is Grace seeing him? He's married. Okay, and will you go somewhere with your dumb ass? Corinne kind of just shuffles Charity away. She ain't got time for that foolishness. So, because she can't get anything out of her, Charity goes back to her office and she calls Noah. Okay, and obviously it is a family voicemail, because when she leaves her message, she said, oh, hey, Noah and Isabel. Noah, why didn't you stop by and say hi when you were here at the church? How dare you? Give me a call back. I said, first the fuck all, you are barking up the wrong tree. You are so stupid. Okay, you are not only digging around trying to find something on your sister, but you are about to ruin a marriage. Granted, she don't know all the ins and outs about what happened with Noah and Grace and Isabel, but common sense ought to tell you that you don't need to be calling him and all of this, especially with Grace's and Noah's history. At least you knew that one time they had a... She is so damn mad. I just was so upset that I said, what is fucking wrong with Charity? She is a dumb ass, okay? And then when she hangs up, she's just like, oh my God, like, I can't believe I just did that. This is what we call the pivotal episode. Ooh, I gotta hurry up, you guys. My training starts in 10 minutes. Next day, Sophia comes back to Zora's house, and Zora is mad. You know what? You a lying bitch, okay? Where were you last night? You know, Sophia was like about to say a Roberto. She said, and don't say Roberto's because I called over there. And he didn't even know you were here. And he doesn't even drink, and you stink, okay? Like a fucking brewery coming in here. All right, so where were you? Well, Sophia, you know, she doesn't want to give away her mother's secrets. So she just kind of just shakes her head and she was like, that's what I thought. So you need to get out. You ain't staying here. You know, you got enough time to be spending the night out at somebody's house, then you need to take your ass back over there. That's what mamas be saying. Now, we saw it that May had called Corinne one day and asked her if she was the one that controlled Bob Whitmore's schedule. And she said yes. And she says, okay, great. Turns out that May wanted to schedule a lunch with Bob Whitmore. Okay, so today is the day they're meeting. That May was sharp. I said, oh, if anything, May be looking good, child. May look good. So she sits down with Bob Whitmore and she gets right to the point. The fact that they're trying to mix these two churches together sounds like spiritual sabotage to her. And he says, boy, you surely don't pull any punches, do you? Oh no, it may be a whole bunch of things, but Lady May don't pull the punches. How about we eat first, Lady May, and then we'll talk about it? Okay, they eat and then we back to talking. She's trying to explain to him how Calvary has always been a safe haven for the blacks in the neighborhood, you know, and that'll be a problem if we start trying to mix the two. And he says, I understand that, but you know, the world is moving into a different place now, you know, and we got black people and white people starting to want to praise the Lord together. And that's what Harmony and Hope stands on, the love thy neighbor principle. And she was just like, but how will Grace fit in with all of this? And he says, well, Grace, you know, it has a powerful voice and she will be fine there. If she can't work out there, then I'm sure she'll land on her feet somewhere else. He said, but I tell you something, that Grace is definitely a chip off the old block. Okay, she didn't get that from Bishop. I said, you surely ain't said a lie there. He said, she is all you. But let's let them meet and see what shakes out from that meeting. Of course, I'm not going to force them to do anything. All right, so let's just see what happens. Do we have a deal? And he tries to shake her hand and she just looks at him. Let's fucking hear. Let's get back on. So then she takes it on back home. And when she gets there, she sees it's like, oh my God, Sophia, you know, what are you doing here? I didn't even know you were here. Is everything all right? And Sophia's like, yes, I'm on my way to the airport. Oh, to the airport? I mean, you just got here and you leaving already? You know, she sees Grace. Grace, will you tell me what's going on here? Why is your child leaving? I didn't even know she was here. Okay, and Sophia walks over to Grace and she just says, look, I'm not going to tell you a secret, but I'm not going to lie for you, okay? I'm not coming back here until you let everybody know about my brother. So she walks out, and, you know, Lady May was just like, what is happening around? What is going on? Will somebody please let me know something? And Grace is just like, I don't feel like talking about it. Okay, so when she's walking up the stairs and she's going back to her room, Lady May says, I spoke with Bob Whitmore, and Grace is mad. She says, why? You know, Grace said she was going to handle it. She already spoke with Cal. He doesn't want to come even as much as they don't want them to come over. May said, I know. So what you need to do is try to make sure that this merge doesn't happen. You know, again, putting it all on Grace. So they start fussing because Grace wants May to let her handle it and see it from her angle. But Lady May is trying to hit it home, drive it home to Grace. That we are losing this church. We need to stop trying to be real nice around here. We need to get to it. And Grace was like, well, thanks for the vote of confidence. So it's the next day at church. We got Charity and the white lady up there saying, child, the song is horrible. I don't know how you think that you could actually turn a black church. The church that was, there's no way that those members would accept that going on, then people would start leaving in droves. I have been in mega churches, been a member of a mega church before. They will not stand for something like this going on so drastically, and like, you know, so they up there singing Charity, trying to put her little stank on it, but it ain't helping, you know, and everybody's sitting in the congregation like, what the hell is this? Okay, even Bishop and Lady Mae. But child, Grace get up there, and when I tell you that Grace pulled out them acting chops when she was giving that sermon, child, I almost felt like I was in church. I was just like, girl, you better do this, honey. And she was preaching the word, basically saying that, look, I wrote it down because I was so impressed. Anyone out there in the world who thinks that they can push us around, God is using you to unite us, okay? Rise up, rise up. I mean, she gave that sermon. She really did a great job. I was like, okay, Grace, you better do that. And honey, she had that church right back on it, because at first, after that music, I know they was like, what the hell we doing now? You know? And of course, while she's sitting there giving that fire and brimstone sermon, even Cal was impressed. He loved what she said. Even the members out there, they loved what she said. You know who didn't love it though? Sidekick Phil and Bob Whitmore. You know, this is not what he said that he wanted her to do. What does she think she's doing? Okay, so after service, Bishop and Lady Mae, they see her out there in the vestibule, and he was just like, that was a wonderful sermon. And Lady Mae was like, Bishop, don't make a scene out here, because he looked like he wanted to do a cheer. But you could tell that they were both pleased with what she did. But then here comes Sidekick Phil. You know, Bob Whitmore wants to talk to you in my office. She was like, your office? No, when did you get an office, girl? Like, what did Lady Mae tell you yesterday? We are losing this church. Open your eyes, girl. So she goes in there, and Bob Whitmore tells her that she had no business trying to turn everybody like that. She was like, listen, I was just preaching the word. Okay, what God gave me. Oh, well, we don't care what God gave you. What I'm telling you is, don't do that no more. She was like, look, I talked to Cal. They don't even want to come here. He said, because you guys don't want to. Now you got the fool thinking that he gonna stay at his church and try it, you know, give it another go. They done went from 1,500 members to 250 members. Okay, and he's still thinking that he could turn this around. All right, so listen, I'm gonna put it to you like this. You keep up with this shit, and you're gonna be out. Your whole family, your brother and sister, they already hanging on the thread. There's gonna be some problems around here if you keep this up. You the one that's gonna ruin this for your family, okay? I was like, well, what else is new? They blame Grace for everything anyway. Why not Bob Whitmore either? Bob Whitmore has given Grace something to think about, you know, on top of the fact that she's got to worry about her son, who's at his apartment by himself, lonely and drinking. Looks like he's got an alcoholism. There. So he's working that bottle of Hennessy. Then we see Charity and Jacob. You know, they're at the signing. Remember, they signed on Sunday. So they weren't at the service. They're there. Jacob signs the paperwork confidently. You know, this is what his woman wants. He loves his woman. He's trying to make her happy. Then when he passes the paperwork over to Zora Mama, you know, she looked like she got the bubble guts. You know, she looking around. She kind of thinking to herself like, and what am I about to do to this family? Is this a good idea? Oh my God, I really want to move. I love that place. We need this money. I can be out of that house. You know, I ain't got to be up in Lady Mae's face no more. I didn't tell you guys that Lady Mae chastised them for selling that land, huh? But I left that part. I forgot about that part. But anyway, she's thinking about all of these things, but she goes on and signs that paperwork. I said, oh, Zora Mama, how can you do this? There will be other buyers. You just sold your family away. And it's your family, because who else is Zora Mama family? We don't know nothing about her background. All we know is that she got Jacob's family, and she done sold that shit away. I was just like, girl, I don't know how you can look at yourself in the mirror. Okay, how you sleep at night knowing that you done did this? And when she signs it, you can tell she looks sick. I mean, if a black person could turn blue, that would have been Zora Mama right there. I said, wait till they find out about that. Jacob just might leave her ass. And then lastly, we see Noah calling Grace. You know, he in the bar, you know, and he looked like he down on his luck. She's like, what's going on? He says, oh, you know, Charity called the house and mentioned that I was down there at the church. And, you know, Isabel started to put two and two together and asked me some questions. And Grace said, and you told her? He said, well, I'm not going to lie to her, you know, but long story short, she didn't got mad. She didn't had enough of this, so she didn't kick him out. So she's done. And, you know, Grace was like, well, what are you going to do? He says, well, first thing, I'm going to move back to Memphis and get to know my son. I said, you need to get over there with your son. He about to drink himself into a hole. Okay. Yeah, so he's coming on back to Memphis. We ain't seen hide nor hair of Rick Fox, so I guess Grace and Rick are done. I remember them breaking up. But, I mean, he ain't floating around in the background or nothing, so I guess Grace and Noah might rekindle some magic as well. But, ooh, that Charity and that Zora Mama. Ugh! Sidekick Phil is also an asshole. You know, Bob Whitmore, even though he is an ass, he's doing what I would expect him to do, you know. But Sidekick Phil, this your people. Look what you're doing. Anyway, you guys, I got to get off of here. I'm late now. Okay, it's 9:03. See what I do for the Roxstars? Let me get on off of here. Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm Itsrox. The channel is for Itsrox, and everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Till next time, Roxstars. Bye.